I want you to close your eyes for a second. Seriously, just humor me. Imagine a dish sitting right in front of you. It's familiar, it looks comforting, mostly potatoes, maybe some yogurt. But wait, it's not a hot curry, and it's definitely not a mayonnaise-drenched Western potato salad. It's sitting right on this delicious, confusing borderline. It's creamy, but it's spicy, it's soothing, but it's got this sharp, sour kick that just wakes you up.
It sounds like a culinary contradiction.
Exactly, a complete contradiction, a paradox in a bowl. And today we are diving deep into a dish that defines a specific region in the western hills of Nepal. We are talking about Palpali Chukauni.
Chukauni. It's a name that evokes a very specific sense of place for anyone from that region.
Oh, for sure.
Just saying the word probably triggers like a Pavlovian response for a lot of people.
And here's the kicker. We aren't just talking about a recipe today. This isn't a cooking show. We are looking at a transcript of an interview with a Nepali entrepreneur who did something, well, kind of audacious. He looked at this hyper-local, perishable, homemade heritage dish, something your grandmother makes in her kitchen in Tansen, and said, I'm going to put this in a package and sell it in supermarkets across the country.
Which, when you look at the food science involved, is a massive undertaking.
Massive.
You are essentially trying to scale a bacterial time bomb.
So our mission today is to unpack this journey. How does a dish travel from a traditional feast in the hills of Palpa to a grocery store shelf in Kathmandu? We're going to look at the cultural roots, the engineering nightmare of packaging it, and the business of selling nostalgia.
And we're basing this discussion on a conversation between a presenter and the businessman behind the Palpali Chukauni brand. It's a fascinating look at how tradition meets modern commerce.
So let's start with the basics. Let's ground everyone. Deconstruct this for me. If I'm sitting in Tansen and someone hands me a bowl of Chukauni, what am I actually looking at?
Well, at its core, it's a potato dish. But calling it a potato salad feels like a real disservice because the flavor profile is so distinct.
Right.
It's like calling a Ferrari a cart with an engine. The base is boiled potatoes. Simple enough. But the binding agent, the thing that brings it all together, is yogurt.
Yogurt, dahi, so that's where the creaminess comes from, right?
Exactly. But it's not just yogurt and potatoes. That would be, well, bland. The source material lists a specific cocktail of spices that transforms it.
Okay, what are we talking about?
You've got fenugreek, that's methi and turmeric, or bisar, plus salt, chili, and coriander.
Okay, so we've got savory, we've got heat, we've got that earthy turmeric color giving it that golden hue.
But here is the key detail, and if you miss this, you miss the essence of the dish. It uses mustard oil.
Mustard oil. Now, for those who haven't had it, we aren't talking about generic vegetable oil here.
Not at all. Authentic mustard oil has a very specific chemical profile. It contains allyl isothiocyanate.
Okay, getting technical early.
I have to.
Yeah.
That compound is the same thing that gives wasabi and horseradish their kick. So when the oil is raw, it's pungent. It can literally make your eyes water. But when you temper it, heat it up and pour it over the spices, it adds this incredible nutty, sharp depth.
So you have the cooling yogurt and then this sharp heated oil cuts right through it. It's a sensory clash.
Precisely. And in the transcript, the entrepreneur describes the taste as having a fine taste with a characteristic slight sourness. That sourness comes from the yogurt and it cuts through the richness of the potatoes and the oil. It's a balance.
And geography plays a huge role here, doesn't it? We keep saying Palpali.
Yes. Palpa is a district in western Nepal, and Tansen is the main town there. This isn't a generic Nepali dish. It is hyper-specific to the Tansen area. It's a hill station dish.
Oh.
The climate there is cooler, and historically, these hill communities rely heavily on dairy and root vegetables. It's a dish born of its environment.
I love how specific food can get. You drive a few hours in any direction in the Himalayas, and the staple dish changes completely. But in Tansen, Chukauni isn't just a side dish you might order if you feel like it. It seems like it's mandatory.
It absolutely is. The source highlights that this is a cultural staple. It's not optional. If there is a feast, a bowl of Chukauni is there.
This interview mentions specific occasions, didn't it?
It did. Weddings, for one.
Yeah.
You apparently can't get married in Palpa without Chukauni on the menu.
Wow.
It's like a witness to the marriage. But also the major festivals like Dashain and Tihar. Yeah. And local fairs known as jatras.
Jatras are those vibrant street festivals, right?
Yeah.
Chariots, music, crowds.
Exactly. So imagine the sensory overload of a festival, the music, the heat, the thousands of people, and the grounding taste of this cold, spicy, sour potato dish. It's woven into the fabric of celebration.
And that leads us to the emotional side of this. The entrepreneur we're reading about, he didn't just pick this product because he ran a spreadsheet on unexploited potato markets. This was personal.
Deeply personal. He was born in Palpa. In the interview, he talks about his childhood memories. Specifically, he mentions the taste of his grandmother's cooking.
Grandmother's love. I think that's the phrase he used.
That's the one, and that's a powerful driver. He says the dish represents Palpa's culture and his own identity. It's not just calories, it's heritage. It's a time machine back to his childhood kitchen.
Which makes the next part of the story so interesting, because usually when we think of grandmother's cooking, we think of something that cannot be bought. You have to go to her house to get it.
Right. It implies intuition, a pinch of this, a handful of that.
But this guy had an aha moment. He transitioned from just enjoying the food to seeing a business opportunity. His question was simple but ambitious. Why not package this original taste and deliver it nationwide?
It sounds simple, let's sell Chukauni, but let's be real. Scaling a recipe from a home kitchen to a factory line is usually where things go wrong. It is. But he started small. The source mentions a trajectory of growth. He didn't just appear in supermarkets overnight. He started with small-scale production, refining the process, and now he's supplying major cities like Kathmandu and Pokhara.
And the brand name, he didn't overcomplicate it.
No, he kept it direct. Palpali Chukauni. It tells you exactly what it is and where it's from. It banks on that regional reputation.
It's like selling champagne or Parma ham.
Yeah.
The geography implies the quality.
Exactly.
Okay, so he has the idea. He has the grandmother's recipe. But now we have to talk about the hurdle. And honestly, when I read the ingredients, list potatoes and yogurt, my first thought was, how does this not spoil in 2 days?
That is the $1,000,000 question, or perhaps the million rupee question. The primary difficulty mentioned in the source is preservation.
Right. Yogurt is active, it ferments, it goes sour, it separates, and potatoes can ferment too.
It has a naturally short shelf life. If you just put homemade Chukauni in a jar and left it out, especially in the summer, it would be inedible and probably unsafe very quickly.
So how did he solve it? Did he just pump it full of chemicals and preservatives?
The transcript implies a more technical, holistic approach. He mentions consulting with food experts. This wasn't just trial and error in the kitchen. This was bringing in science.
Oh, okay.
They implemented secure packaging technologies. You need an airtight seal to prevent oxidation and contamination.
But the packaging is only half the battle, isn't it?
Correct. The real hero here, and the thing that makes this a viable business, is the cold chain.
Cooling arrangements, as he called it.
Yes, the cold chain. This is crucial. It refers to keeping the product at a consistent, cool temperature from the factory all the way to the retail shelf.
And we have to be context specific here. Nepal isn't a flat landscape with 6-lane highways. We're talking about the Himalayas.
Yes, extreme elevation changes, winding roads, potential landslides, traffic jams in Kathmandu.
It's a logistical nightmare.
Yes, exactly. Maintaining a refrigerated truck at, say, 4 degrees Celsius across that terrain is a logistical miracle. It's an ecosystem. It's not just about making the food. It's about the trucks, the backup generators for the fridges, the electricity reliability in the retail stores.
If the power goes out at the supermarket for 6 hours, the product is ruined.
Precisely. So he had to build a supply chain that could withstand the infrastructure challenges of a mountainous country.
That's a really good point. We often think of innovation as tech, like a new app, but figuring out how to get a yogurt-based potato salad from Tansen to Kathmandu without it exploding, that is serious innovation.
And beyond the logistics, there was a psychological hurdle. The entrepreneur talks about the challenge of convincing customers.
Your trust factor.
Right. If you grew up eating fresh Chukauni made by your mom or grandma, you are going to be naturally skeptical of a packet you buy in a store.
It's the uncanny valley of food. If it's too perfect or if it tastes slightly chemical, you reject it immediately.
The goal was to replicate that authentic flavor, the homemade taste, without compromising hygiene. He had to bridge that gap between the sterile factory and the warm kitchen.
It's that tension between safety and soul. He had to prove that safe, packaged food could still have the soul of the dish.
And judging by his expansion to Kathmandu and Pokhara, it seems he's managed to bridge that gap. He mentions that the original taste was the priority. If he had compromised the flavor for shelf life, the business likely would have failed.
I bet. The local palate is too discerning to be fooled.
Absolutely.
So he's conquered the domestic market. He's got the cold chain figured out. What's the end game here? Is he satisfied with just being the potato king of the hills?
Doesn't seem like it. He has global ambitions. The interview touches on a really interesting target audience, the diaspora.
Ah, the Nepalists living abroad.
Exactly. There are millions of Nepalists living in the Middle East, Australia, the US, Europe. And what is the one thing you crave when you are 5,000 miles from home?
The taste of home. You don't crave generic food. You crave the specific taste of grandma's cooking.
Precisely. He identifies that people abroad are craving their original taste. So the plan is to export.
That brings up a whole new set of challenges, though. Export regulations for dairy-based products are tough. FDA, EU standards. It's a lot of red tape.
It is. And he mentions a specific shift in the supply chain to meet that, using organic potatoes.
Organic potatoes. That's a smart move. That plays well in international markets.
It does. It signals quality and health. But it also ties into his broader economic philosophy. This is where, it gets really interesting, because he connects a bowl of potatoes to the national economy.
Unpack that for us. How does me buying a packet of Chukauni help the country?
Well, he makes the argument for the multiplier effect. Loving local products creates jobs. It's a chain reaction. You buy the product, the factory needs workers, the factory needs potatoes, so the local farmers, specifically potato farmers in the hills, get supported.
So it strengthens the agricultural base.
Exactly. It keeps the money within the national economy. He says, if we love our own products, it strengthens the national economy. It's a classic argument for local consumption, but seeing it applied to a specific heritage dish makes it very tangible.
It provides a guaranteed market for the farmers. Instead of wondering if they can sell their crop, they know the factory needs 500 kilos a week.
Exactly. It lifts the whole region. And for him, it goes back to identity. He says quite poignantly that this is not just trade, it is his identity. It's Palpa's culture. He views the business as a vehicle for cultural preservation.
That's fascinating. It's amazing how food can carry that much weight. It's calorie intake, sure, but it's also memory, it's economics, and it's national pride.
And it's innovation and resilience. We often think of innovation as creating something brand new.
Yeah.
But taking something ancient and finding a way to make it survive and thrive in a modern commercial world, that is a serious form of innovation.
Yeah, it's a great point.
If you don't package it, if you don't make it accessible, maybe the younger generation stops making it. Maybe the recipe fades. By commercializing it, he might actually be saving it.
That's a great way to put it. He didn't invent the dish, but he invented the delivery system that keeps it relevant.
Precise.
So let's recap this journey. We started in a kitchen in Tansen, Palpa. We have a dish that is a spicy, sour, yogurt potato mixture Chukauni.
A staple of festivals and weddings. A culinary contradiction that works.
Right. And then we have this entrepreneur who takes that memory, navigates the nightmare of preserving dairy and potatoes, builds a cold chain across the Himalayas, and creates a brand that now feeds the major cities of Nepal.
And potentially, soon, the world.
It's a pretty incredible trajectory for a humble potato salad.
It is. It shows that there is value in the hyperlocal. You don't always have to copy global trends. You don't need to make another burger or another pizza. Sometimes the most valuable asset is the recipe your grandmother has been making for 50 years that nobody else knows about.
Absolutely. Now, I have to say, reading about the mustard oil and the yogurt has made me incredibly hungry. And the transcript had a very specific recommendation for our listeners, didn't it?
It did. The host of the interview and the entrepreneur made it very clear. We can talk about the packaged version all day, and it represents a massive achievement. But if you visit Palpa, and specifically the town of Tansen, you cannot leave without trying this fresh.
Tasting it in a local kitchen is mandatory.
Mandatory. Because even with the best packaging in the world, there is something about the context, the air, the water, the specific bacterial culture of the region, the atmosphere of Tansen, that probably adds a flavor you can't bottle.
The terroir of the potato.
Exactly. The flavor of the hand, as they say in South Asia.
You know, this whole discussion raises a really interesting final thought for me. We're seeing this trend everywhere, commodifying nostalgia. We see it with artisanal pickles in Brooklyn, packaged curries in London, kimchi in jars everywhere. We are trying to buy back our time.
It is a massive global trend.
My question, and I want you to chew on this, is can modern food science truly capture the hand of the grandmother? Or does the act of mass production, no matter how careful, inevitably change the cultural soul of a dish? Is there a subtle magic that dies the moment you put a lid on it?
That is a profound question. Is the soul in the chemical composition of the spices, or is the soul in the act of someone making it for you with love? Can a factory line ever replicate affection?
That's the question. I think Palpali Chukauni is making a brave, delicious attempt to say yes, but maybe the answer lies in whether you're eating it at a wedding in Tansin or out of a plastic tub in an apartment in Kathmandu.
Indeed. But either way, I'm glad it exists. It's a delicious experiment.
It certainly is. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the spicy, creamy, complex world of Palpali Chukauni.
A flavorful journey indeed.
We hope you enjoyed this taste of the Himalayas. Thanks for listening. I want you to close